the quadratic formula. And you have probably seen the quadratic formula before. And this is it right here. X equals negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. And if you don't know what this is, you probably look at it and say, man, that thing looks, that's just a bunch of stuff. I don't know what that is. But it's very helpful and useful. What it's going to do is it's going to give you the answers for a quadratic equation without having to factor and without having to use the square root property. All you have to do is you have to plug in all of the A's, the B's, and the C's. Once you plug them in, use your calculator, and you'll get your answers. So how do I find the numbers to plug in? Well, if you look at this example right here, this is a quadratic equation. And just like we did with AC, we're going to label A, B, and C. We're going to label the coefficients. So the coefficient for A is 1, the coefficient for B is 6, and the coefficient for C is 5. And to find your answer, all you need to do is plug in A right here and right here. To find B, you have to plug in right here and right here. And then C, you have to plug in here. Okay, so let's see it done. Okay, so what I did here was I rewrote the quadratic equation, quadratic formula, and I left a bunch of blanks where I'm going to go and fill in my A's, my B's, and my C's. And then I listed over here what A, B, and C were. So let's go ahead and plug them in. All right, negative B. B is negative 6 plus or minus the square root of B squared. Here's B again. A is going to go right here. And C is going to go here. And A is going to go here. So all I had to do was label my coefficients, plug them in, and now let's see what happens. The opposite of negative 6, well, that's a positive 6. Opposite of a negative is a positive. Plus or minus the square root of negative 6 squared is 36. Minus 4 times 1 times 5, well, that's minus 20. All over 2 times 1, which is 2. All right, inside the radical, 36 minus 20, that's 16. We know the square root of 16. That's 4. And now we have 6 plus or minus 4 over 2. Okay, so that's going to be 6 plus 4 over 2 and 6 minus 4 over 2. 6 plus 4 is 10, so that's 10 over 2. 6 minus 4 is 2 over 2. So we get 5 and 1. Now, the quadratic formula is very important when you cannot factor. So I picked an example here that would factor, and that's why we get these nice answers of 5 and 1. But the quadratic formula can work for problems where your polynomials don't factor, okay? And your answers might end up being irrationals, they might end up being imaginaries, all kinds of options.